Alright, I have an announcement for a new series we're starting on this channel. We are starting a new real estate series to this channel. I'm starting a new business. So the real estate business I'm starting is called Rental Arbitrage. So I got this idea from some people doing Airbnb arbitrage. So Airbnb arbitrage is where you lease a property from a property owner and you get written permission to sublease the property. So when you sublease the property, you're going to list it on Airbnb and you're going to rent it out on a short-term basis. So for example, we're going to say your long-term lease with your landlord is $1,000 a month. Then you're going to take it and sublease it out on Airbnb for $100 a night. So your break-even point is 10 nights. $100 a night times 10 is $1,000, which equals your monthly rent. So if you can rent your unit out for an excess of 10 nights a month, you'll turn a profit. This real estate strategy is called Airbnb arbitrage. I was looking to find a property to do Airbnb arbitrage at. I found a prospective property down by the beach. It has 4 units. I approached the landlord with my Airbnb arbitrage strategy. I basically told the landlord, I'd like to lease your property and rent it out on Airbnb. We had some other contingencies too, which sweetened the deal for the landlord, which could potentially influence him to say yes. He declined my offer. He didn't like the idea of Airbnb. So I sat on it for a while, I thought about it, and I decided, hey, with the rents that he has right now, I could just rent this property out monthly. If he doesn't like Airbnb, what about month-to-month tenancy? So basically I approached him again. I said, hey, my same proposal, but instead of doing Airbnb, I'll rent it out monthly. Alright, now I'd like to show you guys some images of the property so you can see what kind of condition it's in. Here you can see the exterior of the property. It is a little worn down, but that's typical for properties in this area by the beach. All 4 units share this courtyard, which is centrally located to the units. Now to get into the renovations that this property needs. You can see the exterior windows need to be reglazed. Here's one of the interior windows, which you can see has been neglected and probably not open or closed in a few years now. So we'll need to test this window and see if we can get it to work properly. You can see this interior window in the bathroom needs to be repainted at the base. There is no curtain, so the water has been collecting on that paint. Here's the interior flooring in that bathroom. You can see it has some very old carpet. It looks like the carpet was just thrown over the vinyl flooring. So we're going to have to take this carpet out and probably redo the bathroom floor. Here's the inside tile of that shower in that bathroom. You can see it's going to need some work and need to be refinished. Here's the inside ceiling in some of the units' living rooms. You can see the cracking of the particle board, and that's going to need to be patched up and fixed. On the brighter side, here's the inside of one of the bedrooms. It's a really nice looking unit. It's steps from the beach in an A+ location. These units have a lot of potential. So some of the incentives I gave to the landlord, or some of the contingencies you could say, upon moving into the property. This is a distressed property. It's in a great A+ location, but the property needs a lot of work. So the property needs some basic renovations. I'm going to show you guys some pictures here of the property. I agreed with the landlord that upon moving into the property, I would make some initial renovations. Some of the initial renovations I said were, so currently at the property that the heating is not working, which is not up to code. So I agreed with the landlord that I would replace the heating or fix the heating. I agreed that I'd repaint the units, I'd install new flooring, and I'd replace all the fixtures, along with some other detailed required renovations upon moving in. I also offered the landlord increased rent from what he's currently getting. I offered him over $500 increase in rent per unit, which I believed I could still rent out for a profit once I were to fix the units up and remodel them. I also added into the contract with the landlord that after I moved in with the renovations and I leased the property out, I would take the responsibility of some of the ongoing maintenance to the property. So rental arbitrage, what I'm doing here, is basically Airbnb arbitrage, except for that I'm renting out monthly. And to get the landlord to agree to work with me, I'm adding some incentives such as improving the property, ongoing maintenance. The initial improvements that I'm doing are on my dollar. So he's going to get his property fixed up on somebody else's dollar. So what makes it worth it for me? So for me, I'm getting a long-term multi-year lease. This allows me the protection that I know that I can rent the property out for long enough to make back my initial investment. Also, I know I can get increased rent from this property. I can guarantee that the rent that I'm getting, I can rent it out for substantially more once I put in some initial renovations, just because the area this property in is such an A+ location and has a very scarce property in this area that I'm looking at. It's a beach property. Also, the landlord, they just did a management change, and there's a new landlord coming in, and the current tenants that are in the property, they're late on their rent. Their rent is below market value. In the area that I'm in, you cannot increase rent more than 10%. He's gonna have to get these tenants out. First off, to make some of the improvements to get these units back up to code, he's going to have to get these tenants out so he can get increased rent. So you have a prospective leasee, as myself, coming and offering to do these improvements on his own dollar and going to give you increased rent. So it's pretty much a slam dunk for both parties. I'm providing value to the landlord, he's providing value to me. It's a win-win situation. And you don't see these all the time because subleasing isn't popular. A lot of people don't like subleasing or are turned off to the idea of it. But I think in this instant, it is really a win-win for both parties, for me and the landlord. It's a fourplex by the beach. We'll be renovating these 4 properties, getting them all ready to sublease out for a profit. So you can kind of see how there are still creative ways to get into real estate these days. Everyone says you need a lot of money to get into real estate. There are creative ways to get in. I approached him with the Airbnb arbitrage strategy. He declined it, so I tweaked it a little bit where I can still maneuver myself to make a profit and get into real estate without having to own the property myself. There's honestly countless little renovations that need to be done to these units. I could go on and on for a while here, but you'll see it more in depth in another video of the renovations we're going to be doing to the property. I'll be filming and documenting these renovations and my whole journey on this rental arbitrage strategy and how it goes. Stay tuned for this real estate series. Let me know if you guys have any questions below in the comments.